I'm a 36 female and was a bridesmaid in my good friend's wedding, Anna, 46. I was initially very honored until I went to the first bridesmaid meeting at her house on Thursday. I realized Anna hadn't chosen 8 of us to be her bridesmaids because of our friendship with her, but because of our skills. For example, one of our bridesmaids is a hairdresser, so she'll be doing all the bridesmaids' hairstyles, the bride's sisters, who are not bridesmaids, and the mother of the bride. I come from a big family, so I'm used to cooking for many people, so I was expected to cook for 80 guests. I also make sculptures and jewelry out of wire silver clay, so I was expected to make Anna's crown and necklaces, bracelets for Anna, the bridesmaids, her sisters, and her mother. I was also expected to make 20 wire sculptures for each table. She wasn't offering any money for the ingredients or materials. Anna then said that each bridesmaid needed to make an $800 donation. One of the bridesmaids, a makeup artist, said she was not going to pay to work for free, and Anna said that a bridesmaid is meant to support the bride. Other bridesmaids spoke up, so Anna started shouting, and at one point, her husband-to-be, Mark, stepped in. Finally, 2 of the bridesmaids stormed off into the garden to smoke. Anna then shouted, "Listen when I'm talking, you stupid witch." I was very upset as she was dragging up my past. The other bridesmaids went to university with Anna, but I didn't. I wanted to leave, but everyone was staring at me while Anna kept talking, and I desperately tried to hold back the tears. I haven't told my loved ones about this because I'm so upset, and I don't want to upset them. But Anna sent an email today with her bank details for the $800 deposit and an attachment of the contract detailing my duties. I emailed back saying that I couldn't fulfill my duties as a bridesmaid, so I will be stepping down. Am I the idiot for stepping down as a bridesmaid? Not the idiot. I imagine you walking outside into the sun like a free woman after you turned down her offer and feeling like you just beat the rap on a life sentence. The air is so much fresher. The sun is so much brighter. Food just tastes better. So take that $800 and spend it on yourself. Celebrate making the right decision. Congratulations, you dodged a massive bridezilla. I hope her other bridesmaids follow suit. The price of OP's labor and materials would be like $1,000, but of course that's before the donation. Anna's a monster who happens to be a bride. This is way past bridezilla. OP, I hope you have better friends now and in the future. What a nightmare of a human. Geez, that's also not a friendship OP should want to keep. What a horrible personality. Seriously, what voodoo magic is Anna casting to hold such sway over a bunch of adult bridesmaids? Who really cares that this woman is getting married? I have socks older than your friendship. Bow out and drop her, unless you like being treated worse than livestock. The laughable thing is she's 46, has a child already, and then wants 8 bridesmaids. I expect she'll be wearing virginal white as well. Also, when the 8 groomsmen put in $800 each, that's $12,800. So she's nearly going to make a profit. OP, I'm sorry that she was vicious and malicious when you stated you couldn't be a bridesmaid. She is a viper who has no shame in treating you heinously. In addition to her horrid mess, she expects you to subsidize her wedding? Block her everywhere. Anna's using her bridal party solely to provide unpaid labor, and on top of that, she wants you each to pony up 800 quid? Wow. As insane as this situation sounds, I believe it's 100% true because I've witnessed firsthand the sudden rush of what looks like outright demonic possession when a seemingly normal woman is planning for her big day. Fortunately, most people I've come across remain normal throughout the process, but some need to be put in a padded room to think about their choices. Please don't communicate with this woman anymore. This is not someone you need in your life. I'm a newly divorced dad of a toddler girl. I have her every other week. My daughter has very curly hair that my ex-wife used to take care of. Now that I'm alone with her half the time, I have to figure it out. I tried, but on my weeks, her hair was mostly a frizzy, tangled mess. A teacher at my daughter's daycare has very similar hair to my daughter's, so I asked her if she could help me with my daughter's hair. She said she could do my daughter's hair in the mornings if I dropped her off earlier. Drop-off starts at 8, and I usually drop her off at 8:45, but her teacher says if I drop her off at 8:20, she'll be able to take care of her hair. She gave me a list of curly hair products to buy and what to bring to school. She also gave me some tips for washing and caring for it at home. I guess my daughter told my ex that her teacher does her hair, not me, and that she goes to daycare early now because my ex called me and asked if I really dropped her off a half hour early every morning just so I could avoid doing her hair. She called me a bad parent for relying on a teacher to do my job and for messing up the morning routine so we could get to school early enough for the teacher to do her hair. We used to wake up, give her a bath, I'd attempt to do her hair, we'd have breakfast, then go to school. But now we wake up, take a bath, and eat breakfast in the car. I thought I was doing right by making sure her hair was cared for on my weeks, but my ex feels very strongly about this. So I wanted to know if I was the idiot. Not the idiot. If the teacher doesn't mind doing it, which is very generous of her, and you should get her a very nice gift for her trouble, then I don't see why it's an issue, but it might be more sustainable for you to ask the teacher to train you to do your daughter's hair, because it is unlikely that future teachers will want to do this. And what will you do then? You should compensate the teacher for her time if you do this. BS. This teacher is likely underpaid. She's not doing it because she enjoys it. She's doing it for the kid. She cares more about the kid's well-being here than the OP. So when daycare raises prices and staff leave, this kind of BS is the reason. Teachers of all levels are sick of having to be a parent on top of their job for pennies. The OP needs to be better. He had the opportunity to learn when he was with his ex, and he didn't. He made no moves to learn and let another woman take over. He's not even staying to learn from the teacher. The teacher probably feels obligated to because she feels bad for this kid. She knows the kid will suffer from the embarrassment of being unkept, and she most likely can also tell why the mom left. Dads like this are exhausting. This is the definition of strategic incompetence. OP, when you were with her mom, were you also bad at doing laundry, dishes? Please take responsibility and realize that these games don't work anymore. You are the idiot. Wholly weaponized incompetence. Why don't you take your child to a salon specializing in her hair type and learn how to do it yourself, rather than offloading it to someone else because you can't be bothered learning basic skills for your own kid? I had a boomer great aunt that was a wonderful and loving woman. She just grew up in Eastern Europe right after World War II. One of the weird things about her was that she would give her old belongings as gifts for weddings and important birthdays. I still have the music box she gave me for my first communion. When we saw family, I would always ask to see their pieces. A few of my aunts had displayed them in a china cabinet or out somewhere safe. A few had them collecting dust in a box. I made sure they knew that if the day ever came that they wanted to downsize or something, I would appreciate a chance to grab it for my collection. Some of my cousins took me up on the offer, and I ended up with 6 extra pieces for my room. When I moved out, I made sure that every single part of my collection was safely wrapped and packed. They're my little treasures. I know it's weird. I'm about 15 years younger than my eldest brother, and he knows about my collection. When he got married, I was 14. At his gift opening, I saw he got one of her usual gifts. I also saw his wife's face. She was not super grateful. I made sure he knew that I thought it was beautiful, but I didn't ask him to think of me if he wanted to get rid of it. I thought he might like to pass it to his kid one day. When my aunt passed away, she left me most of her collection, 3 pieces that made up a set. I got married last September. My niece, his daughter, was my flower girl. I almost heard him giggle when I opened my gift from them at my gift opening. It was the piece from our great aunt. He thought it was super funny. Then he gave us our real gift from our registry. I thanked him profusely for both. He came over the other day and saw my collection in the china cabinet that I inherited. He asked me why I was so fascinated with this stuff. I told him that I thought it was amazing, and that lots of people had collected it. He called BS and started looking it up. The figurine he gave me is worth about $6,700. He said that I was an idiot for not telling him what it was worth. He wants it back. I said that my husband and I were going to give back every piece I got from the family as a gift for a special occasion. I already planned to give that piece to my niece for her first communion, along with a little booklet of information about my aunt and the value of the piece, so they appreciated it. I know exactly who I got each piece from, and they're all going back to that family. He says I'm being mean by accepting a gift from him that was worth so much. I asked him if he ever bothered looking up the value of what he was giving to me. He said he thought it was like precious moments or Hummel. Whatever. I have family treasures to keep safe for the next generation. I know I would have gotten something awesome for my great aunt if she hadn't passed away before my wedding. Not the idiot. He only wanted it when he found out it had monetary value. You want it for its sentimental value and to pass on to his daughter. Although it's sweet of you to want to pass it on to his daughter, be careful with it. I reckon he's just going to take it and sell it. He was giggling at you when he gave you that wedding gift, like he was pulling a prank on you. I don't fault him for not being into the great aunt's collection when he was younger, but certainly as an adult, he could have looked up the markings himself, or even asked you what you knew about it. Also, just because it's worth $7,000 doesn't mean he'll get $7,000. Yours sincerely, from a person who loves antiques and auctions. Alright, so my son, nearly adult, has weekly therapy appointments that I take him to. Unfortunately, my husband let our daughter borrow his car and then had an emergency at work, so he had to use my car. So my son and I had to take the bus. It wasn't ideal, but I'd rather take the bus than miss an appointment. While it isn't my place to share why he goes to therapy, I'll say that he often forgets to eat. I usually make sure he's fed, but due to the mess in the morning, it slipped my mind. The bus wasn't too crowded, but all the seats were taken. My son wasn't doing too well, and I could tell he was feeling dizzy from hunger and the bus. So the second someone got off their seat, I set him down. I then tried to find a chocolate bar I had in my bag. While this happened, I noticed an older woman and her adult daughter standing beside us. I didn't pay much attention until the daughter tapped me on the shoulder. She asked if my son could move so that her elderly mother could have a seat. I felt really bad. I really did. But my son wasn't doing great, and standing would make it harder. I had found the chocolate and he was eating it slowly, but if he stood up right then, I can assure you he would have fainted. I apologized to her and explained that my son wasn't feeling well. She rolled her eyes at me and said that she saw him standing earlier and that he's a young, healthy teenage boy. He'll be fine. I apologized once again and told her that he wasn't feeling well and that if he was, then he would have offered her a seat. The daughter told me to look at her mother, and I admit the poor woman looked really tired, but I couldn't. My son had started to lean against me, so I told the woman one last time that I was sorry and to ask someone else. I then heard them both whispering and calling me an entitled witch. And when we got off the bus, a woman that got off with us said that a teenage boy can handle standing more than an older woman can, and that she hopes someone treats me like that when I'm her age. My son was so out of it, I don't think he even noticed or cared, but I can't get this out of my mind. Am I the idiot? A totally unrelated woman thought I was wrong with the other two. I wasn't sitting down and didn't have a seat. Not the idiot. You handled it the same way I would have, politely explaining that your son wasn't feeling well and needed to sit. I'm sure there were plenty of other people they could have asked, and many others could have offered, so I'm not sure why they felt the need to pick on you and your son. Having an invisible illness is the pits for just this very reason. I too get these crashes on occasion, and there's no choice to it. If I don't sit down and get something in me, a Gatorade if nothing else, I will pass out. People tend to forget young people can get sick too. Yeah, it's nobody's business what someone's health conditions are, and it's not your responsibility to make someone's life more comfortable at your expense. If your son fainted on the bus, he could have been seriously injured. Keeping him seated was in the best interest of everyone on that bus. Good on you for putting your son first. Mike, 27 male, is my 25 female older brother. He spends a lot of time online as he's not working, and he recently got in his head that I am or was the golden child in the family. He blames all his misfortunes on this. He started uni about 6 years ago and now only has his internship and final exams left. He says he's looking for an internship, but he's been saying that for almost a year. In the meantime, our parents give him money, so he doesn't starve. I finished uni in time and have a slightly above average paying job. From his point of view, I was always treated better than him. Our parents were always proud of me and never of him. They showered me with praise, showed me up to our relatives as their great child, and they helped my studies with tutors and foreign language camps. He says that this is why I am where I am now, and he's where he is. From my point of view, we both had the same opportunities. I studied, always did my homework, and asked my parents for tutors when I needed it. Mike rarely did his homework, didn't study that much, and in high school he skipped school so many times he was almost forced to repeat the year. I told Mike this. I told him I was never the golden child. I actually did things worth the praise. Meanwhile, he caused so many headaches to our parents by constantly skipping school. I also stopped receiving money from our parents when I finished uni at 22, and he's still being taken care of by them at 27. So I don't see them treating him that badly. Mike said that our parents ruined him when he was still under 10 because instead of guiding and helping him like parents are supposed to, they labeled him as the lazy, stupid child and focused on helping me, the one who was doing good by herself already, to do even better. Mike said what I was saying was cruel, and the least I could do was reassure him as a good sibling. I disagree with him. I really do. But I was just a little child. It's possible I didn't see things for what they were, and now I'm being a huge idiot for invalidating my brother's feelings. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I also stopped receiving money from our parents when I finished uni at 22, and he's still being taken care of by them at 27? This right here is your answer. You are a grown-up, living your own life, while your brother's being taken care of like a child. Maybe you did get more praise, but it's not because you're the golden child. Clearly that's your brother, as he's 5 years past the age you were cut off and still living with your parents. It sounds like Mike can't handle that his little sister is actually making a success of her life. I imagine his view is that he should always be ahead of you because you're younger. Maybe also because you're a woman. He's not, and he's blaming anyone other than himself. This makes sense, honestly. I mean, he's nearly 30, has been an undergrad for 6 years, and he still gets money from mom and dad. If anything, I'd argue he's the golden child. The girl is naturally expected to buckle down and get on with work or school, etc., while the golden boy gets away with bad behavior. He put his parents through all that grief that OP explained, and they still send him money. Disagree. Everyone's the idiot. He's of an age where he now needs to stop looking for things to blame and learn to function as an adult. Everyone comes out of childhood with some habits to unlearn, and 27's old enough to do this. That being said, you may have been the golden child. He's been made to feel less than while growing up. Just because you don't think you were the golden child doesn't mean it wasn't so. Telling him that his lived truth is wrong isn't going to do anything other than reinforce his opinion.